Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I have some huge news for you guys. It was just reported on Twitter today by Madhouse Studios that Hunter x Hunter is going to be getting a new season, guys. This is an insane news. We've been getting updates on the manga, so it's honestly a perfect time to be getting this stuff, right? But unfortunately, if you are looking at the date of this video, April Fool's, guys. So this isn't entirely a prank because I do want to discuss what the anime will actually look like when we potentially get it, hopefully in the next 2 years, right? But let's start off the video though with talking about some news that we've gotten for Hunter x Hunter, right? So if we look at Togashi's recent posts, right, his second to last post was stating that chapter 427 is almost completed, right? And we did get some sick Illumi art, which he's personally one of my favorite characters, so I really appreciated that. And then we also got another post stating that the inking for chapter 429 is completed, right? And we also got some amazing art of Kurama and Karasu, which I love. Like whenever Togashi draws Yu Yu Hakusho for like one of these posts, it's so refreshing because you get to see like we haven't seen these characters drawn in so long, so it's really cool to see that, right? And another insane, like, I can't even believe I'm about to say this, but we got an actual picture of Togashi, and he's doing all right, right? And this is, not a prank, I swear. Togashi has been spotted. It was on a random Instagram account. This photographer lady in Japan took a picture of Togashi and his wife, the author of Sailor Moon, and they were at this tea ceremony, and he's standing there, he's smiling, and he looks healthy, right? He doesn't even look old. I'm not even trying to be rude. He does not look old, bro. He looks young. He's got maybe, he's trying to be all vampiric or something because he looks pretty young and he looks healthy. And I'm very personally happy about that because the Hunter x Hunter fans are so loyal that we didn't even care about the manga being continued. We just wished for Togashi's health to get better. That's really what we wanted, right? And this is confirmation that he is doing okay. And this is honestly big news, right? Despite the video, this is huge news that to see Togashi doing well, it kind of explains why we've been getting consistent updates, right? Unfortunately, though, we haven't really gotten any updates since March 17th, but we already got confirmation. Togashi's up and he looks nice. It's fine, right? We'll wait on that. But the point of this video, though, is I want to talk about what the anime will be looking like, right? Because I personally prefer Madhouse comes back and they take over it, right? I don't want no Mappa. I know it would look cool, right, for Mappa to take over or Ufotable or something like that because this is a very different Hunter x Hunter in the manga. It's way more dark, I would say, right? And Goen's not really in it. But I think Madhouse should just continue it, and I don't want a whole separate series. You know how they do sometimes, like a sequel series? It should just be a continued version of the original 2011 anime in the same art style, the same opening. If they change that opening, I'm going to be pissed. That's the most iconic opening. I love it. I really hope they keep that, right? Just do a continuation. Nobody will question it. Nobody's going to be hating. The Madhouse art style looks good. It looks very good. Nobody really complains about it. Some people say the old version, the 1997, I think, version of Hunter x Hunter looks good as well. Which, yeah, I'll agree, looks darker. But, the Madhouse version looks fine. But, a few things I do want to get into, right, is what will the content be, right? And what I think is going to happen is we're going to get up into volume 38 will get adapted, right? Because that's how much source material we have right now, right? They're not going to make any chapters without a volume. That just wouldn't make a lot of sense, right? And the reason I'm honestly making this video is because I got a comment saying they should make a movie, right? And I don't think that works because this isn't really a movie worthy arc, right? Like there's a lot of good moments and a lot of, side characters get a lot of time, they get more time to shine, and a lot of things are explained, and it's really set up for the Dark Continent, but it's not, they're not going to make a movie for just build up and setup, right? And the climax would obviously be the Hisoka versus Crollo fight, and I'll admit that is movie worthy, but it's not really a good idea, I think, right? I think continue the series, give it excellent animation, and we'll be fine, right? Because this does work as a good continuation, right? And some things I think they can add to the anime, right? Just a few scenes and extra content, right? Because we want to try to milk out as much Hunter x Hunter content as we can get, right? We can't really make a movie because of the state of the show right now, right? Gon no longer has Nen, Killua's off with Aluka, and then Karapika and Leorio are on the Black Whale. So anything we get is going to be non-canon and doesn't really work. And what I personally appreciate about the Hunter x Hunter movies is they really try to be canon, right? Like in Phantom Rogue, they really tried to keep it in line with the story. It fits perfectly after York New City, right? Another member of the Phantom Troop appears, Gon and Killua are together, Karapika gets attacked, and they did add some of Karapika's backstory, which is actually canon to the manga. It was amazing. I love that movie. It was so good. If you guys have not seen it, the second one, the last mission, it works right, between the Greed Island arc and Chimera Ant arc when they're traveling with Kite. It works fine, but the concept I think they tried to go a little too crazy with. They really, including N, and I did like they, made Netero a big part of it, and they added Pariston and stuff like that. But, it was still good, regardless of how crazy it got. But I don't think they can make another Hunter x Hunter movie, right? I don't think we can do that. There are a few, like, OVAs and specials they can make, but this is what I'm going to explain here, right? Is I think these things can fit in the story. They're basically canon, and they could fit in certain moments, right? So, a prime example of this, right? I'll start off. In the manga, when Gon is saying, he can't make any aura, right? A very popular panel that a lot of people use because it's Gon's, like, only appearance, really, right? They can use that, right, in the show, and Gon is, like, outside, like, a little dock, and maybe he can be in a cafe with Kite, because we did see him with Kite at the end of the series, and he can have a conversation with Kite, talking to him about, I don't have Nen right now, like, what am I doing, Kite, right? And Kite could suggest to him to go back to Whale Island like he does in the manga, right? Which would help and explain why he's no longer with Kite, right? And as they're talking, maybe they can reflect a little bit on their history and Whale Island, because that, really makes sense for them to do if they're just catching up. And they could, adapt that first chapter, exactly how the manga had it, right? Make it manga accurate. Because they did make it quite short in the little flashback we got in the 2011 anime. It was very, very short. And we didn't get the character Khan, who is the fox bear that Gon saved, right? Because in the first chapter, he's like this big giant fox bear, and Gon's hugging him and stuff. So we can get that character back. That would be sick, right? And they can include that character, and that would be Just I'd really like to see that, right? And another moment that they can add, right, is when Karapika in the manga is saying, I have nowhere to return to, right? When he's suggesting to go on the Black Whale and get the rest of the Kurta clan eyes, right, against Saridnik, he's sitting there reflecting, like, should I really go and do that, right? Because he has nowhere to go. It's his only purpose is to go get the Kurta clan eyes, right? And in that moment, you could have him sit there and you could fully adapt the Karapika memories from Volume 0. And yes, we did get that in Phantom Rogue, but not fully, right? There's some things that we didn't get, some things they cut, and a very important thing that they cut was there's a character called Sheila, who is friends with the Phantom Troop, who's a hunter, who shows up and meets Karapika before the Phantom Troop assassinate the Kurta clan, which is a very important moment, right? That we kind of didn't even get to see Sheila in the movie. So, if they do show Sheila, which could be, foreshadowing to the inevitable Phantom Troop flashback that we do get in the manga, right? And that would work perfectly. Like, we show the flashback with the Kurta clan, it, gives us sympathy for Karapika, and then later on, we see the Phantom Troop flashback with Sheila in it, and we get sympathy for them, and it kind of gives Karapika and Crollo the parallel in the continuation of the series, right? Now another moment, right? Something we didn't really get explained was what happened with Abengane, right? And this isn't in the manga. This could be completely anime canon, right? But I feel like a really good scene would be right before the Crollo and Hisoka fight, right? We could see Hisoka traveling to Heaven's Arena, reading some type of letter that Crollo sent to him, and he's basically thanking him. Like, thank you for giving me, for getting Abengane to me so I can get my Nen back. I will now fight you at Heaven's Arena. Perfect. That explains, because we don't really see what happens, or they just, the next minute, Hisoka's going after Killua, and then the next minute he's at Heaven's Arena trying to fight Crollo. So, this would explain that perfectly, right? And we could also see what happens to Abengane, right? We could see the scene with Crollo getting his Nen back, and Abengane's ability works where he can lift any Nen curse, but he gets like a crazy Nen beast attached to him, and it sucks. Like, it really, he can't even sleep. It's terrible, right? And what they could possibly do is Crollo could lift or use his skill hunter to take away Abengane's Nen ability to lift Nen curses. Then he won't have the Nen Beast, and he's successfully liberating Abengane as thanks, right? Or he could just kill him and test out his Nen again, and that would be a sick moment from Crollo. But either way, I think we should get a scene like that, because it's a flashback that makes sense, right? Another insane flashback that, I think would work perfectly for the Hisoka and Crollo moment is Hisoka's backstory, right? And how it could work is when Hisoka does get to Heaven's Arena, right? We could see him in his room waiting, right? Because the fight's going to be at night or whatever. And we could see him waiting there, and maybe he's got a piece of bungee gum on the table. And then we go into the backstory that was created for him by the author of Tokyo Ghoul, which Togashi gave his blessing and stated that it would be canon, right? And the art style, honestly, in the manga, the one-shot, doesn't look good, right? I'm going to be honest. It's very, hand-drawn and quick. It's not really detailed. It's kind of more like sketches. And it would look really good in the Madhouse design, right? Like animated and obviously, right? And I think they should personally adapt it, right? Because it's more content, it's canon, and it's Hisoka. People would eat that up, right? That's just something they really should add, right? And then, yeah, just go on with the rest of the manga until volume 48, right? And then potentially we'll get volume 39 and volume 40 in the next 2 years, and they can maybe make another season out of that, right? With another 12 episodes added to the anime. And this works perfectly, right? We get this extra content, we get more stuff with Hisoka, we get amazing animation, because this is going to be like a different series potentially, right? Because there's a new main character. So I want to see that opening with Karapika. It's going to look so good, bro. Once we hear the "You Can Smile," that's going to be so good, right? Let me know down in the comments below, like, what do you think about the suggestions I made, right? Do you think we should get Karapika Memories, the Hisoka backstory, and, the stuff with Gon and Khan, right? These things, because these are important scenes that they could add, right? And filler doesn't always mean bad. If they do give us some fillery stuff to the Hunter x Hunter anime, if it doesn't stray too far from the manga, it will work perfectly, right? Because this series is just that good. It'll work good, right? Anyways, guys, thank you for the support. We're almost at 3K, and I just want to ask you, right? If you guys sub up, I will go to Netflix and beg them to bring Steel Ball Run episode 2 to Netflix this weekend, guys. I will beg them. I'll do whatever I need to do. If I need to make a Nen pact and curse myself, I will do it because we need Steel Ball Run. Anyways, guys, it's Ministry Benj. Peace.